Have you ever wondered, where do I even start? Like, David, I'm the new safety guy and I don't know anything about safety. Or I know about safety because I did it at another place, but I don't really know this company. Well, if you've wondered that, this is the video for you. My name's David Sawyer. This is Help with OSHA. And over the past 15 years, I've put together a list of step-by-step instructions on how to step into the role of safety manager and actually make a safety program that works in the real world. Now, the goal is to prevent accidents, period. That's what we're trying to do. We also have to meet the OSHA regulations, and we want to do everything right so that we avoid OSHA and keep them outside the door. You can go to the notes of this video, or you can go to helpwithosha/steps and download a free copy of the safety steps. I want to walk you through them real quick, one by one. They're meant to be very easy and easy to understand. So the first thing you have to do is a safety assessment. And this is meant to be just a way to get out into the workplace, to get on the floor, to ask questions. And so what you want to do is go out there and really be ignorant. Don't know anything. Ask questions, watch, and observe. The safety assessment is meant to find how would somebody get hurt doing this job. What I like to do is ask people that have been there for a long time and then ask people that have been there a really short time, because you'll get two different sets of answers. But you don't want to go in and assume anything. You want to go in and just have an open mind, look around and say, how would somebody get injured or seriously hurt on the job? Now, there's some clear telltale signs. If you've got forklifts, then we know, okay, there's a possibility of some kind of accident with a forklift. If you have heavy machinery or equipment where lockout tagout is a concern, that's going to be an issue. If you have confined space, that's going to be an issue. If you have fall protection where people are working from height, that's going to be an issue. But every job is different, and sometimes you might have a job with really serious equipment, but most of the accidents are slips, trips, and falls because the work surface is slippery or wet, or maybe it has tripping hazards. So you really want to go in, look at past accidents. You want to put everything out on the table during the safety assessment. So that is step number one. Step number two is when you look at the accident records and the annual 300 OSHA summary, right? The 300A summary. So you're going to dig through the research and look at past items. You're also going to organize it. So the safety assessment is step one, and then organizing past safety records is step two. That way you get a good foundation of where the company's been and where they're going. Step three is where you start to dig in and prioritize what needs to be done today. And so you want to focus on key safety programs. You want to write the programs, and you want to provide training to the employees. Now, the reason I say key safety programs is, like I mentioned earlier, your safety assessment is going to determine which programs you work on first. If you have powered industrial trucks, lockout, tagout, confined space, you want to focus on those. You don't want to be looking at hearing conservation if there's a serious issue with your forklift operators. Now, it's not that hearing conservation isn't important. It is, but it's not nearly as important as getting somebody run over by a forklift. So we want to make sure we're focusing on what is important first and then prioritizing the list. From there, we provide constant communication and inspections. So once we establish the training, we have to follow up and make sure people are doing what we train them to do. If we train people to label chemicals and then we go out next week and none of the chemicals are labeled, we're going to have to follow up on that. This is where consistency plays an important role. And as a new safety manager, it is very easy to bite off more than you can chew, because you look around and you go, there's so much I need to do. Focus in on the key areas. Stay laser focused on those, and that way you don't overwhelm yourself or your team with all the things on your list. You can have a long list of things to do, but just focus on the key areas each day. From there, step 5 you're going to tie a bow on the safety programs. That's where you circle back after you've done the key programs and you've started the inspections and you've started walking around and consistent communication with managers and supervisors and crew leaders. Then we're going to move on and tie a bow on the other safety programs, make sure we've got all of them in place. And then finally, step 6, stay the course. Have regular safety meetings, have annual reviews. You want to constantly be improving, right? A few years ago, there was a buzzword in manufacturing called making sure that you are constantly improving, continuous improvement. Continuous improvement is fantastic, and it applies to safety just as much as anything else. Nothing should be stagnant. You can always make improvements, and incremental improvements over time are going to make your safety program alive. You want it to be alive and active, because if it's just stagnant, if it's sitting up on a shelf and nobody's looking at the books, they can be beautiful books. They can be really nice binders. They're worthless unless people are actually engaged and know what's inside of them. So I hope this video has been helpful, meant to just be a good overview of the safety steps. Join me in the next video where I'm going to break down exactly how to do the first step, which is your safety assessment. So with that in mind, I hope you can help everybody at your workplace prevent accidents, avoid OSHA, so nobody gets hurt at work.